I was the first woman ever hired by the Bureau of Land Management. I can't say BLM anymore because that has a different meaning, but the Bureau of Land Management is one of the largest land management agencies in the United States. And I used to joke that it was 5,000 cowboys and me. So it was a lot of, it was fun. My dad had grown up in a ranch, so I had sort of even though I was born in Brooklyn and raised in Queens with a father who had grown up on a ranch, we did things like fishing and a lot of outdoor stuff that people may not think of when they think about New York City. And we had a huge garden and everything. He wanted it to look as much like Texas.
Oh,
That's
wow.
where he grew up. So it was very different upbringing. Bureau of Land Management fit that perfectly. My undergraduate degree was in wildlife biology because they weren't letting women be vets then. So I had to pick another profession. And wildlife biology was great. And believe it or not, my first job was in Las Vegas, Nevada. Um, and I had 10 million acres to play with as a wildlife biologist out there. I had a great career. As you can imagine, I was the first everything. If I was the first woman, I was the first woman and everything else after that, and worked my way up. And I've lived all over the country. I've worked in 6 different states and worked my way up to being the deputy director of the entire agency during the Clinton administration. And so I had 10,000 employees, 200 offices, and a $1 billion budget. And
Wow.
that was pretty exciting. But Washington, it's a lot of talk and not that much action. So I'm an action-oriented person. I like projects, I like beginning, and I like endings. So I transferred, spent the last 7 years of my career here in Arizona. I was in charge of Arizona and part of Utah. So I had 14 million acres, so it was like a vacation compared to what I usually did. And I love Arizona. I love the climate. I love the scenery. It was just a great place to be. I've been accused of knowing everybody, and that's not true. But what I do say is 30 years ago when I moved here, there weren't that many people here. So yes, I couldn't know everybody then, and I've seen it grow a lot. I've done a lot of things here. I was lucky enough to retire early, but I did things like start the Black Chamber of Commerce here. I worked on getting the State Farm Stadium built and approved. Several of the Major League Baseball stadiums I worked on. Phoenix Convention Center remodel, Symphony remodel. I just like to really get in and help the community any way I can. I had my own company, Denise Merida Consultants, when I retired early from the government, and that was public relations, and that was the company involved with all of these things. But in 2019, I thought if I could accomplish this much by myself, why don't, as Ed said, you need to find your own little universe. So why don't I find other people that feel the same way, that are have a certain talent for certain interests, can help the community as well as have business. I love business. So I'm pretty unique in that I have a background and I've taught. So I have a background in academia. I've run nonprofits. I've run my own business, so it's sort of unique. And so I try to attract those type of people who have a very varied interest. And I'm excited that the people that you see here today, it's just a sample of our group. But we've really been turned on in 2020 when NCAA changed its rules and said that the student athletes can be paid, which I've always agreed with. But they didn't put out any policies at the time, so it didn't quite go as smoothly as it should have, could have, would have. So, but I thought what we could do as part of the remedy is work directly with the students. So that's what we're doing. And what our goal is to create 1,000 new businesses with student athletes and their families. So that's why we're here. I really appreciate being invited to speak here by Black, and want to hear from the other 2 folks that are here with us. Again, this is just part of the community, part of our family. But Nangang, I've met, he's been with us about over a year.
Yeah, a little bit over a year.
So I introduce him first.
Hi, I'm Ning Yong Chen. I met Denise through a networking event, a network basically. And as soon as she introduced me, like, oh, I have this nonprofit organization called NILO.